Have you ever wondered why some people achieve great things while others struggle to even get started? Why do some wake up early, follow a routine, and succeed, while others keep making excuses? What is that one thing that separates the winners from those who keep failing? The answer is simple: self-discipline. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. It is not about forcing yourself to do something you hate. It is about training yourself to stay consistent even when you don't feel like it. Without discipline, talent is wasted, dreams remain dreams, and success stays out of reach. Think about a student preparing for an important exam. He knows he should study, but distractions pull him away. Social media, TV, or just the temptation to relax. One day turns into two, then a week, and suddenly, the exam is near, and panic sets in. Now, imagine another student who studies a little every day, even when he doesn't feel like it. When the exam comes, he is ready, confident, and stress-free. The difference? Discipline. This applies to everything in life: fitness, career, relationships, and success. People often wait for motivation, but the truth is, motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward even when motivation disappears. And before we move ahead, let me tell you something important. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It takes just 1 second for you, but it helps us a lot. Drop down your thoughts in the comments, and let's make this journey together. Now, let's dive deeper into mastering self-discipline and learning how to control our actions, thoughts, and habits. Because once you master yourself, you can achieve everything. The power of small daily habits. Self-discipline is not about making one big effort and then expecting life to change overnight. It's about the small things you do every single day. Tiny actions that seem unimportant at the moment but shape your entire future. Most people think success comes from big, dramatic changes. But the truth is, real change happens in the smallest moments of your day. Think about this. What happens when you drink a sugary soda every day? Nothing much at first, right? But after a few months, your energy drops, your weight increases, and you start feeling unhealthy. Now, what if you drink a glass of water instead? Again, no big difference immediately. But after months, your body feels fresh, your skin glows, and your energy is higher. One small habit, big impact. This is the power of daily habits. Discipline is not about forcing yourself into painful struggles. It's about building habits that make discipline automatic. Imagine someone who wants to get fit. He doesn't need to spend 5 hours at the gym in one day. He just needs to exercise for 30 minutes every day. Over time, this habit will turn into a routine, and that routine will turn into a lifestyle. But here's the problem. People overestimate motivation and underestimate habits. They feel inspired for a few days, and then give up because motivation fades. That's why habits are everything. When something becomes a habit, you don't even have to think about it. It becomes a part of your daily life, just like brushing your teeth or wearing shoes before leaving home. Think about this. A student who reads just 10 pages every day will complete more than 12 books in a year. Someone who saves just a little money every month will have a strong financial backup in a few years. A person who practices speaking for just 5 minutes daily will gain confidence over time. Small efforts, repeated daily, create massive results. Most people fail because they set huge goals but don't focus on small daily actions. They say, "I want to lose weight," but they don't change their eating habits. They say, "I want to start a business," but they don't work on it every day. The secret is consistency, not intensity. Doing something small but consistently is always better than doing something big once and then quitting. Now, here's a challenge. Think of one small habit you can start today. Something simple but powerful. It could be drinking more water, writing down your goals, waking up 15 minutes earlier, or reading one page of a book. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your life changes. Because in the end, discipline is not about one-time effort. It's about who you become through the small things you do every single day. Mastering your mind, control your thoughts. Have you ever felt like your mind is working against you? Like you're stuck in a cycle of overthinking, negativity, or doubt? It's as if your thoughts have a mind of their own, and you can't control them. But what if I told you that you can control your thoughts? What if you could take charge of your mind and use it to achieve anything you want? The truth is, your mind is the most powerful tool you have. But, like any tool, it needs to be trained and sharpened to work effectively. If left unchecked, your mind can become a breeding ground for distractions, excuses, and self-doubt. This is where self-discipline comes in. To master your mind, you need to learn to control your thoughts. Think about this. Have you ever woken up in the morning with a goal in mind, only to have your thoughts quickly shift to something negative? Maybe you start thinking about all the reasons why you might fail, or you remember something you forgot to do yesterday. This is a common pattern. We let our minds wander, and before we know it, we are thinking about everything except what we should be focusing on. But here's the thing, you can choose your thoughts. It's not easy, and it takes practice, but it's absolutely possible. The first step is awareness. You need to notice when your thoughts start to drift or become negative. For example, let's say you're working on a project, and suddenly your mind starts saying things like, "I can't do this," or "It's too hard." When you catch yourself thinking this way, you have the power to interrupt that thought and replace it with something more positive. One of the most effective ways to do this is through a practice called mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about being fully present in the moment, without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you start to recognize when your mind is wandering, and you can bring it back to the present. For instance, if you're working on a task and you catch your mind drifting to worries or distractions, take a deep breath and refocus. This simple practice can make a huge difference in your ability to control your thoughts and stay disciplined. Another powerful way to master your mind is through positive affirmations. This is where you tell yourself positive, empowering statements that replace the negative thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," say, "I am capable and strong." Instead of thinking, "I'll never be successful," say, "I'm on the path to success, and I will reach my goals." These small changes in the way you talk to yourself can transform your mindset and help you stay focused on your goals. But mastering your mind isn't just about thinking positive thoughts. It's also about recognizing when you are letting your thoughts control you and taking action to break free from those patterns. For example, think about the last time you were stuck in a loop of negative thinking. Maybe you started thinking about all the things that could go wrong in your life, or all the things you failed at in the past. Did those thoughts help you? Did they move you closer to your goals? Of course not. They only held you back. Here's where self-discipline plays a huge role. To master your mind, you need to develop the discipline to stop those negative thoughts in their tracks. When you feel a wave of negativity creeping in, you need to have the self-control to pause and ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it true? Does it move me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, then you have the power to let it go. You don't have to entertain negative thoughts. You can choose not to engage with them. This is not about suppressing your emotions or ignoring problems. It's about choosing how you react to your thoughts. For instance, if you're facing a challenge, instead of thinking, "I can't do this," you could choose to think, "This is tough, but I'm going to push through it and learn from the experience." That shift in perspective can make all the difference. One thing you need to realize is that thoughts are just thoughts. They are not facts. Just because your mind says something doesn't mean it's true. Your mind is constantly generating thoughts, and many of them are based on fear, doubt, or past experiences. But those thoughts don't define you. You are the one who gets to decide what to believe and what to act on. If you want to be disciplined, you have to stop being a slave to your thoughts. Instead of reacting to whatever pops into your head, you need to become the observer of your thoughts. Think of yourself as the driver of a car. You get to choose where the car goes. Your thoughts are just passengers in the back seat. Sometimes they might scream at you to take a wrong turn, but you have the power to ignore them and keep driving straight toward your destination. Now, this is not something that happens overnight. Mastering your mind and controlling your thoughts is a lifelong journey. It takes patience, practice, and consistency. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay focused on what matters. And the more you practice, the stronger your self-discipline becomes. So, how do you start? The first step is simple. Become aware of your thoughts. Whenever you find yourself distracted, negative, or unfocused, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Is it helping me? Is it moving me forward? If not, let it go and replace it with a thought that serves your purpose. As you practice this, you'll find that you begin to think more clearly, feel more in control, and make better decisions. Your mind will no longer be the enemy. It will become your greatest ally in the pursuit of your goals. Remember, the power to master your mind lies in your hands. Discipline is not about control, it's about choice. Every day, you have the choice to control your thoughts, and by doing so, you will unlock the power to conquer yourself and achieve anything you desire. So, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are in control. Keep practicing, stay focused, and watch as your mind becomes your most powerful tool for success. Breaking free from laziness and procrastination. Have you ever set a goal, told yourself you're going to start today, but then ended up doing nothing? You keep saying, I'll do it later, and that later never comes. Days pass, and you're left feeling guilty, wondering where all your time went. This is the reality of laziness and procrastination, two powerful forces that hold us back from achieving our goals. They make us feel like we're stuck in a loop of excuses, always waiting for the perfect moment to start. But here's the harsh truth. The perfect moment never comes. If you keep waiting for the right time, you'll keep waiting forever. But why does procrastination happen? Why do we choose comfort over progress? It's because we are wired to avoid discomfort. When faced with a task, our mind sees it as something difficult, challenging, or maybe even boring. So what does it do? It convinces us that later is a better time. We tell ourselves that we need a break, that we'll do it tomorrow, and suddenly, weeks have passed. Here's the thing about procrastination. It's a habit. Just like any other bad habit, procrastination starts small, and then it grows. It feeds on the little delays, the I'll just check my phone for a few minutes moments, or the I'll clean the house first excuses. Over time, these tiny distractions add up, and you find yourself so far behind that it feels impossible to catch up. So, how do we break free from this cycle? How do we stop wasting time and start taking action? The first step is to understand why we procrastinate. The fear of failure, the anxiety of starting something new, or even the desire for instant gratification can make us avoid tasks. But once you recognize that procrastination is a pattern, you can start to change it. One powerful technique to fight procrastination is to break the task into smaller, manageable parts. The bigger the task, the more overwhelming it feels. But if you split it into smaller steps, it becomes easier to tackle. Instead of thinking, I have to write a 10-page report, think, I'll write one paragraph today. When you break it down, it no longer seems like a mountain to climb, but a few small hills you can conquer. Another key to overcoming procrastination is to start with the hardest task first. Most people tend to leave the difficult tasks for later, but this only adds to the stress. When you start your day by tackling the hardest job, you get it out of the way early, and everything else seems easier. Imagine how good it will feel to finish that big project before lunch. A good way to stay on track is to set a timer. Try using the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes straight, then take a 5-minute break. After completing 4 25-minute sessions, take a longer break. This method helps you stay focused and productive without feeling overwhelmed. The key is to commit to working for a set time and then rewarding yourself with a break. But here's something important. Don't be too hard on yourself when you slip up. It's normal to feel like you're falling behind sometimes. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Every time you break the habit of procrastination, you get a little bit stronger, a little bit closer to your goals. The next step in breaking free from procrastination is to set clear deadlines. Often, we don't have a sense of urgency because there's no clear timeline for our goals. Without deadlines, we just keep putting things off. When you set specific deadlines for each task, it creates a sense of urgency and helps you stay focused. And here's a trick. Make your deadlines public. When you tell someone else about your goals and deadlines, you create accountability. Now, there's someone else who knows what you're trying to achieve, and that can push you to stay on track. This could be a friend, family member, or colleague, someone who will check in and remind you to stay focused. Another simple but effective method is to eliminate distractions. If your phone is a source of procrastination, put it on silent or leave it in another room while you work. If your workspace is cluttered, clean it up. Your environment plays a huge role in how productive you are. A clean, organized space helps clear your mind and makes it easier to stay focused on the task at hand. Now, let's talk about motivation. It's true that motivation often comes after you start working, not before. So, stop waiting for the right mood to begin. The trick is to just start, even if you don't feel like it. Once you take that first step, you'll begin to build momentum. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. The first few steps are the hardest, but once you get going, it starts to move with less effort. In fact, sometimes the best way to fight procrastination is to embrace imperfection. Waiting for the perfect moment or trying to do everything perfectly can keep you stuck. Instead, focus on progress over perfection. Don't wait for things to be ideal. Just take action and let the process unfold. Remember, self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about consistency. Every time you break free from procrastination and take action, you build a habit that leads to success. And little by little, you'll find that procrastination no longer has control over you. As you continue to improve your discipline and fight procrastination, you'll see progress not just in your work, but in your life overall. The more you take action, the more you achieve, and the better you feel about yourself. So, let go of the excuses and start taking small, consistent steps toward your goals. Soon enough, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And it'll all be because you made the decision to take control of your time and break free from procrastination once and for all. Keep pushing forward, because you have the power to achieve everything you set your mind to. Building unshakable willpower. Imagine you are standing in front of a huge mountain. You know that climbing this mountain will take time, effort, and persistence. The path is steep and challenging, and halfway up, you might feel tired, discouraged, or even tempted to quit. But you keep going, step by step, because you've made up your mind. This is what true willpower is, the ability to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult or tiring the journey gets. It is the internal strength that keeps you focused, even when the world tries to pull you away from your goal. Willpower is like a muscle. Just like how you build physical strength by lifting weights, you build willpower by exercising your mind. And just like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. So, how do you build this unshakable willpower that can push you through the hardest times? Start small. It might sound simple, but this is one of the most powerful ways to build willpower. Don't try to conquer a big task all at once. Break it down into small, manageable pieces. When you wake up every morning, make your bed. It may seem like a tiny task, but it sets the tone for the day. It shows you that you can follow through, no matter how small the task is. The feeling of completing something, no matter how simple, gives your brain a sense of accomplishment, and that's a small win to start your day. The more you succeed at small tasks, the more you begin to trust your ability to succeed at bigger ones. You begin to believe that you can overcome challenges. It's about proving to yourself that you have control. You stop relying on motivation because you realize that willpower is more important than any fleeting feeling of motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but willpower stays, no matter what. Now, let's look at some practical examples. Think about someone trying to get fit. It's easy to say, "I'll start tomorrow," but that tomorrow never comes. It takes willpower to get up every morning and work out. It takes willpower to skip that donut or soda and choose a healthier option. It's not about perfection, but consistency. The person with strong willpower doesn't wait for the perfect moment. They create it by taking action every single day. Willpower is not about doing things perfectly, but about staying committed, no matter how small or imperfect the steps might seem. But how do you handle the days when you feel weak? The days when your mind is telling you, just take a break, just one day off? This is when your true strength comes in. This is when you have to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. Willpower is not just about saying no to temptations. It's about saying yes to your bigger vision, to your dreams. When you're tempted to take a shortcut, think about where that shortcut will lead you. Will it take you closer to your goals, or will it push them further away? It's about choosing what you want most, not what you want right now. Another way to strengthen your willpower is by eliminating distractions. When you want to achieve something, make sure the environment around you supports your goal. If you are trying to work on a project or study, remove distractions. Keep your phone away, turn off notifications, and create a focused space. The fewer distractions there are, the easier it will be to stay on track. The mind is tricky, though. Sometimes, even when we have the best intentions, it will try to sabotage us. Your mind might tell you that you deserve a break, that you've worked hard enough. But this is where willpower comes in. You have to push past the voice that wants to keep you comfortable. The road to success is not about staying in your comfort zone. It's about doing the hard things even when you don't feel like it, and that's where true growth happens. Another great way to build willpower is to set clear and specific goals. When you don't have clear goals, it's easy to get distracted or lose motivation. But when you know exactly what you want, it's easier to stay focused. Break your goals down into smaller tasks. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get fit," say, "I will work out for 30 minutes every morning." Specific goals make it easier to stay on track because you know exactly what needs to be done. In addition, don't be too hard on yourself. Willpower isn't about being perfect. It's about staying consistent, even on the days when you make mistakes. If you fall off track, get back up. Don't let one failure define you. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. Every day is a new opportunity to try again. Don't let a slip-up stop you from moving forward. One key thing to remember is that willpower is not just about working hard. It's also about working smart. Take breaks when you need them. Rest is just as important as action because it allows you to recharge. But make sure those breaks don't turn into distractions. The goal is balance, working hard and resting when needed. If you push yourself too hard without resting, you'll burn out. But if you rest too much without working hard, you'll never get anywhere. Willpower is about finding that balance and sticking to it. Building willpower also requires self-awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. When you feel tempted, stop for a moment and ask yourself why you're feeling that way. Are you avoiding something difficult? Are you looking for a quick fix? Understanding why you make certain choices helps you build stronger willpower because you can address the root cause of your temptations. When you start building willpower, you will notice a huge difference in your life. You'll become more focused, more productive, and more consistent. You'll stop making excuses and start making progress. It won't happen overnight, but with time and effort, your willpower will grow stronger and stronger. In the end, willpower is not just about saying no to distractions or temptations. It's about saying yes to your dreams. It's about understanding that every decision you make, no matter how small, is a step toward your future success. Willpower is the fuel that keeps you going, even when the journey gets tough. So, keep building it. Keep pushing yourself. And remember, the more you use your willpower, the stronger it will become. Overcoming temptations and short-term gratification. Let's face it, we all face temptations. They're everywhere, and they seem to pop up just when we're trying to be disciplined. Whether it's the temptation to skip a workout, eat something unhealthy, or put off that important task for later, it's easy to give in. But the problem with succumbing to these short-term pleasures is that they often hold us back from achieving long-term goals. So, how do we overcome them? Temptation is all around us. It's in the moment when we think, "I'll just check my phone for 5 minutes," and then 2 hours pass. It's the craving for junk food when we know we should be eating healthier. It's the desire to sleep in, even though we've set a goal to wake up early. These moments of temptation are powerful, and they challenge our self-discipline every day. But the key to overcoming these temptations is understanding one simple thing. Short-term gratification always fades, while long-term rewards keep growing. Think about it. That 5-minute spin on your phone, those extra 5 hours of sleep, or that unhealthy snack might feel good for a moment. But the feeling doesn't last, does it? In fact, the moment the temporary pleasure fades, you're left with guilt, regret, and frustration. You didn't get closer to your goals. Now, imagine the opposite. You choose to say no to the temptation and stay focused on your goals. Instead of scrolling on your phone, you spend the time working on a project, reading a book, or learning something new. Instead of eating that unhealthy snack, you fuel your body with nutritious food that gives you energy and strength. And instead of sleeping in, you wake up early and set the tone for a productive day. Each of these small, disciplined choices adds up to something much bigger than the temporary pleasure you gave up. One of the most powerful strategies for overcoming temptation is to recognize that self-discipline is a muscle. The more you practice saying no to the short-term pleasures, the stronger your willpower becomes. Just like lifting weights makes your muscles stronger, resisting temptations strengthens your discipline. And just like muscles, it takes time to build. So, don't be hard on yourself if you give in to a temptation now and then. It happens. The key is to recognize it, learn from it, and keep pushing forward. Another way to fight temptation is by changing your environment. If you know you have a weakness for unhealthy food, don't keep junk food in the house. If you're trying to focus on work, turn off notifications or leave your phone in another room. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to stay disciplined. When you set up your space to encourage your goals, you make it easier to make the right choices. Think about how much easier it is to focus when there are fewer distractions. Imagine you're working at a desk cluttered with reminders of things you'd rather be doing, like your TV remote or a stack of your favorite books. You're more likely to give in and procrastinate. But if you create a clean, organized space that is free from distractions, it becomes much easier to stay focused and stick to your plan. The same principle applies to other areas of your life. Another important thing to understand is that not every temptation is bad. Some desires are natural and part of being human, but the key is learning how to balance them. For example, it's perfectly okay to treat yourself every now and then. You don't need to live like a robot, cutting out every pleasure. The goal is to avoid indulging in things that disrupt your progress or take you further away from your goals. It's about balance, not complete restriction. So, let's take an example. You've been working hard on your fitness goals. You've been sticking to your workout routine and eating healthy meals. One day, you get invited to a party, and there's pizza, cake, and all kinds of food you've been avoiding. At that moment, you have a choice. Give in to the temptation and eat everything, or stick to your healthy habits. The right answer is not always black and white. Sometimes, enjoying the pizza at a social event might be perfectly fine, but the key is moderation. You don't have to eat everything in sight to enjoy the moment. You can savor one slice and then move on. You don't have to let the temptation control you. In fact, the more you resist temptations, the easier it becomes over time. You start to see that the things you once craved aren't as fulfilling as they seemed. That late-night binge-watching session doesn't feel as rewarding the next morning when you're tired and behind on your goals. The junk food doesn't taste as good when you realize how much better you feel when you eat clean, healthy meals. It's all about perspective. One of the most effective ways to stay disciplined and overcome temptations is by setting clear boundaries for yourself. When you set a boundary, you make it easier to say no to temptations. For example, you might set a rule that you'll only check your phone for 10 minutes after finishing a task. Or you might decide that you won't eat junk food unless you've completed your workout for the day. These rules help keep you accountable and remind you why you're resisting the temptation in the first place. But sometimes, even the best-laid plans can go awry. You might be tempted, and you might give in. And that's okay. The key is not to beat yourself up over it. Don't let one small mistake derail your entire journey. Remember, discipline is a long-term game. You won't get it right every time, and that's completely normal. The important thing is that you get back on track and don't give up. To sum it up, overcoming temptation and short-term gratification is about making conscious choices. It's about saying no to what feels good in the moment in order to achieve something greater in the future. It's about building a life where your actions are aligned with your long-term goals. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. And over time, you'll find that your ability to resist temptation becomes stronger and your self-discipline grows. Remember, self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about progress, not perfection. Stay patient, stay focused, and keep building those small habits that will lead to big results. Handling failures and staying consistent. Life is not a smooth, uninterrupted road. It's full of bumps, detours, and unexpected turns. One minute, you're on track, and the next, you face an obstacle that tests your patience, your discipline, and your very commitment to your goals. So, what happens when things don't go as planned? What do you do when failure stares you in the face? Do you give up? Or do you find a way to bounce back? The truth is, failure is a part of success. No one succeeds without facing failure. The only difference is how you handle it. Some people see failure as the end, a sign that they are not good enough. But successful people understand that failure is simply a lesson in disguise. It's a step in the journey, not the destination. Think about someone trying to lose weight. They start strong, with a clear plan. Eat healthy, exercise regularly, stay disciplined. But then, one bad meal turns into two, and before they know it, they've fallen off track. They feel guilty, frustrated, and question if it's even worth trying anymore. But what if, instead of giving up, they got back on track right away? What if they learned from that mistake and found a way to improve? They could treat it as just another learning experience and move forward with a stronger mindset. That's what real discipline is about. It's easy to stay consistent when things are going well. The real challenge is sticking to your goals when everything goes wrong. This is where most people falter. They face one setback, one failure, and it completely throws them off course. They lose motivation, they lose their focus, and sometimes they even lose their belief in themselves. But successful people are different. They don't let one failure define them. They learn from it, grow from it, and use it as fuel to keep pushing forward. Imagine an athlete training for a major competition. She spends months, maybe even years, preparing for this moment. She practices every day, giving her best effort. But then, on the day of the competition, she slips, stumbles, and loses the race. Is it over for her? Does she just quit and give up? No. She analyzes what went wrong, works on those weak areas, and comes back even stronger next time. In life, when we face failure, we are presented with a choice, to quit or to continue. It's easy to throw in the towel when things get tough, but those who succeed know that failure is not the end. It's an opportunity to grow, to adapt, and to come back better than before. You see, self-discipline is not just about sticking to your goals when everything is easy. It's about staying consistent, even when things are hard. Consistency is the key to progress. Without it, even the best plans and strategies will fall apart. The most successful people are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who keep getting up every time they fall. Think about someone who's trying to build a business. They don't stop just because they hit a few roadblocks. They keep going, they keep improving, and eventually, they build something successful. Now, let's talk about the biggest enemy of consistency, doubt. We all experience it at some point. We ask ourselves, is this really worth it? Am I even good enough? What if I fail again? But here's the thing. Doubt is a natural part of the process. Every successful person has felt doubt, fear, and uncertainty at some point. It's normal. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is what they do with that doubt. Instead of letting doubt control you, use it as motivation. Turn that fear into energy that pushes you to keep going. It's okay to be scared, but don't let that fear stop you. When you feel doubt creeping in, remind yourself of your goals, your purpose, and why you started in the first place. Keep going, even when you feel like giving up. Because success doesn't come to those who quit. It comes to those who keep going. The key to consistency is creating habits that align with your goals. If you want to be fit, start by making small changes to your daily routine. Wake up early, do a quick workout, eat healthy. These little habits add up over time. The same goes for your career, relationships, or any other goal. The more you do something consistently, the easier it becomes. And over time, what once seemed difficult will become second nature. But let's be clear. Staying consistent doesn't mean being perfect. No one is perfect, and no one expects you to be. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, when things don't go as planned, or when you simply don't feel like pushing through. On those days, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take a break. The key is to get back on track as soon as you can. Even if you slip up, don't let it derail your progress. Just pick yourself up and keep going. Remember, consistency is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. And over time, your efforts will pay off. At the end of the day, failure is not something to fear. It's a part of the process. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. So, the next time you face failure, don't let it define you. Use it as a stepping stone to success. Stay consistent, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward. Because you have the power to conquer yourself and achieve everything. Handling failures and staying consistent. Have you ever experienced failure? Of course you have. Everyone has. Failure is an inevitable part of life, but it doesn't have to stop you. In fact, failure is a lesson in disguise. It teaches you things that success can never teach you. But the real question is, how do you handle failure? Do you let it break you, or do you rise above it? The first thing to understand is that failure is not the end. It's simply the beginning of growth. We all fail, whether it's in business, relationships, or even personal goals. It's how you respond to failure that makes all the difference. Most people make the mistake of seeing failure as a permanent setback, but it's actually just a temporary obstacle. Imagine you are learning to ride a bike. The first time you try, you fall. Maybe you scrape your knee or get frustrated. But you don't stop. You get back up, adjust your approach, and keep going until you succeed. Self-discipline is just like that. Every failure is just a lesson to adjust your technique and try again. The key is to keep trying, even when it seems hard. When you fail, it's important to reflect. Ask yourself, what went wrong? Why didn't I succeed? What can I do differently next time? This reflection helps you grow and improve. It's like having a map to guide you to your destination. You may take a wrong turn, but once you learn from it, you know the way forward. Failure isn't something to fear. It's something to learn from. What's even more powerful than learning from failure is staying consistent despite it. Many people get discouraged after failing once or twice. They feel defeated and think, maybe this isn't for me. But those who succeed are the ones who don't quit. They keep going, they keep trying, and they stay disciplined. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Athletes, entrepreneurs, or even artists. They all have one thing in common. They never gave up. They faced failures, setbacks, and challenges, but they kept moving forward. Why? Because they knew that success wasn't about avoiding failure. It was about persisting through it. Let's take Thomas Edison as an example. He is known for inventing the light bulb, but did you know that he failed thousands of times before creating one that worked? Imagine if he had quit after his first failure, or his 100th. The world would have been a very different place. Edison himself once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset, that unwavering discipline to keep going, is what led to his success. The same applies to you. Don't let one failure hold you back. Each failure is just another step toward your goal. Every time you fail and keep going, you build resilience and strength. You learn more about yourself and what you are capable of. This is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up too soon. Consistency is the secret. You can't expect to succeed overnight. Big goals take time and effort. It's easy to get excited in the beginning, but the real challenge comes when the initial motivation fades away. When that happens, discipline becomes your best friend. You keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. You keep doing the work, even when it seems like you're not making progress. Then one day, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. So how do you stay consistent? The answer is simple. Focus on your daily habits. Every little action you take, no matter how small, adds up over time. Consistency doesn't mean doing something perfectly every day. It just means showing up and doing your best, day after day. Even if you only make a little progress each day, that progress adds up. Small steps lead to big results. Here's an example. Let's say you want to get fit. You don't have to run a marathon on your first day. You just need to move. Whether it's a 10-minute workout, a short walk, or some stretching, the goal is to build the habit of being active. Over time, you'll start to enjoy it, and it will become easier. Slowly, you'll find yourself wanting to push harder, run longer, and feel stronger. But it all starts with small, consistent actions. It's the same with any goal you have. Whether it's learning a new skill, saving money, or building a business, it's all about taking consistent action. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the closer you get to your goal. And yes, along the way, you'll face obstacles and failures. But that's okay. Failures are just part of the process. What matters is that you don't let them stop you. To stay consistent, you need to set realistic goals. Break your big dreams down into small, manageable tasks. It's much easier to focus on completing a small task than to look at the huge mountain ahead of you. When you break things down, you feel more confident, and you're less likely to get overwhelmed. As you tick off each task, you build momentum. That's how you stay consistent. by making things manageable and rewarding yourself for each step you take. Another powerful way to stay consistent is by creating a routine. When you have a routine, your mind and body get used to it, and it becomes part of your day. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. Routines take the decision-making out of the equation. The less you have to think about whether you should do something, the more likely you are to do it. And the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. But routines alone aren't enough. You need to stay focused on your why. Why are you doing this? What's the purpose behind your goal? When you remember your purpose, it makes everything easier. It helps you push through those tough moments when you feel like giving up. Focus on the bigger picture and remind yourself that every small step is bringing you closer to your dream. And if you ever feel discouraged, remember, success isn't a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, twists and turns. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments of doubt. But as long as you keep showing up and doing the work, you're making progress. You're building a future for yourself. That's the power of discipline. In the end, consistency is the key that unlocks all your potential. So, no matter how many failures you face or how many times you fall, always get back up. Keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep building the discipline to keep going. Success is inevitable for those who never quit. And you can do this. Yes, you can. Now, take a moment to think. How can you stay consistent with your own goals? What small action can you take today to move closer to your dreams? Turning discipline into a lifestyle, not a struggle. Let's take a moment and think about this. Have you ever heard someone say, "I'll just try it for a few days and see how it goes"? They might start strong, but a few days later, they've fallen back into old habits. Why does this happen? It's simple. They are trying to force discipline instead of making it a part of who they are. When you approach self-discipline as something temporary, it feels like a struggle. It feels like a chore. But if you change the way you view it, discipline becomes part of your lifestyle. It's not something you have to force. It's something you do without thinking. Discipline becomes effortless, almost like second nature. So, how do you turn discipline into a lifestyle instead of a struggle? Well, it starts with making small changes, consistently. Most people try to change everything at once, and that's where they go wrong. They burn out quickly. But when you make small, manageable changes and gradually build on them, discipline becomes easier. Imagine you want to get fit. If you start by trying to work out for an hour every day, it might be too much at first. Your body won't be used to it, and you'll feel exhausted, frustrated, and tempted to give up. But if you start small, with just 10 or 20 minutes a day, and slowly increase the time, you won't feel the same level of resistance. The change won't be overwhelming. The same idea applies to every area of life. Let's say you want to develop the habit of reading. Don't try to read a whole book in one sitting. Start by reading just 5 pages a day. That's it. No pressure. Over time, you'll find that reading 5 pages becomes easy, and before you know it, you'll be reading a chapter, then a book, and then several. Discipline, in this case, becomes part of your routine. Turning discipline into a lifestyle also requires consistency. It's about doing things even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early, even when your bed feels like the coziest place in the world. It's sticking to your goals, even when the excitement fades. Remember, discipline is not about being perfect. It's about showing up every single day, no matter how small the effort. Small actions, when done consistently, will lead to big results. Now, think about your day-to-day life. If you start each day with a clear idea of what you want to accomplish, and you follow through, you're already building discipline. And don't think you need to take huge leaps. Success doesn't come from making dramatic changes overnight. It comes from making tiny adjustments over time, each one leading you closer to your goal. Here's the kicker. Self-discipline isn't just about reaching goals. It's also about how you feel while working towards them. If you are constantly pushing yourself to do something, it becomes a burden. But if you start enjoying the process, discipline won't feel like a struggle. The more you focus on the process and the small wins, the more motivated you'll feel. It's about enjoying the journey, not just focusing on the end result. Let me ask you this. How often do you feel frustrated with yourself because you're not where you want to be? Does it feel like your dreams are so far away that they're almost unreachable? That's because we often focus too much on the end result and not enough on the process. The key is to shift your mindset and find joy in the small steps. When you enjoy the process, discipline becomes a tool, not a burden. Discipline is not just about willpower. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports your goals. It's about surrounding yourself with positive habits that make it easier to succeed. That means setting up your environment in a way that makes discipline more effortless. If you want to eat healthier, stop buying junk food. If you want to read more, keep your book on your nightstand, not buried in your back. If you want to wake up early, don't stay up too late. Make the right choices in the small moments, and you'll start seeing big changes. And this is where most people fail. They don't build systems that support their goals. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if your systems aren't in place, it's hard to stay on track. For example, if you don't have a clear plan for your day, it's easy to get distracted by something else. But if you've already decided what you're going to do and when, it's much easier to stay disciplined. Discipline is a skill, and just like any other skill, it gets easier with practice. The more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. In the beginning, it may feel hard. You might feel like you're forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But over time, it will start to feel like a part of who you are. That's when discipline becomes a lifestyle, not a struggle. Now, let's be real for a second. We all have days when we want to give up, when we want to take a break, when we just want to quit. But those are the moments that really matter. It's in those moments that discipline is tested. It's when you push through the temptation to quit, when you choose to keep going even when you don't feel like it, that you truly build discipline. So, how can you turn discipline into a lifestyle? Start small, be consistent, and focus on enjoying the journey. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Discipline isn't a challenge, it's a way of life. When you make it part of your everyday routine, it becomes easier, it becomes natural, and it becomes who you are. And once you do that, success won't just be a possibility, it'll be your reality. So, let's make this a habit, a lifestyle, not a struggle. Keep going, keep building, and keep moving forward. Your future self will thank you. Conclusion: becoming the master of your life. Congratulations! You've made it to the final part of this audiobook on self-discipline. By now, you've learned the importance of self-discipline, how to build it, and the powerful impact it can have on your life. But now, the real question is, what are you going to do with all this knowledge? How are you going to make self-discipline a permanent part of your life? The time has come for you to become the true master of your life. Imagine waking up every day with a clear purpose. Picture yourself sticking to your goals, day in and day out, no matter the obstacles. You start taking action, not because you feel like it, but because you know it's the right thing to do. You've trained your mind and body to act with consistency, and nothing can shake your focus. This is the power of self-discipline. But let's take a step back for a moment. Just think about the many times you've been in a situation where you could have done better if only you'd stuck to your goals. Maybe you wanted to lose weight, but couldn't resist the temptation of junk food. Maybe you wanted to save money, but you ended up spending it on things that didn't really matter. Does this sound familiar? We've all been there. The good news is, these moments don't define you. What defines you is your ability to take control of your actions from this point forward. You see, self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress, learning from mistakes, and always moving forward. Even when you fail, self-discipline will help you get back on track. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and staying committed. It's about creating good habits, one step at a time, and sticking with them. Think of self-discipline like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it may feel hard to stay disciplined, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. The key is to start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Begin by focusing on one small habit, like waking up 10 minutes earlier or reading for 15 minutes every day. Once you've mastered that habit, move on to the next one. Slowly, but surely, you'll begin to see the changes in your life. Now, remember, the path to mastering self-discipline isn't easy. It requires effort, patience, and consistency. But the rewards are incredible. As you build self-discipline, you'll notice that your confidence grows. You'll feel proud of your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Self-discipline will give you the power to take control of your time, energy, and focus. It will help you accomplish things you never thought possible. You may wonder, but what if I fail again? The truth is, you will stumble. You will face challenges. But failure isn't the end. It's a part of the process. What matters is how you respond to failure. Do you give up, or do you get back up and try again? With self-discipline, you learn to embrace failure as a teacher, not a setback. You learn to keep going, even when things get tough. Self-discipline isn't just about achieving big goals, though. It's also about creating a peaceful, balanced life. When you practice discipline, you gain control over your impulses and emotions. You stop reacting impulsively and start acting with intention. You make thoughtful decisions, instead of being controlled by your feelings or external pressures. This level of control brings peace to your mind. As you continue to master self-discipline, you'll notice that it begins to spill over into other areas of your life. You'll become more focused in your work. You'll form stronger relationships because you'll learn to listen and communicate better. You'll take care of your health because you'll be able to resist unhealthy habits and make better choices. You'll feel more in control of your life, and you'll experience a greater sense of fulfillment. But how do you keep going when the excitement fades? When the newness wears off and you're left with the daily grind? That's where your why comes in. Why do you want to be disciplined? What's the bigger reason behind your actions? Whether it's improving your health, achieving career success, or creating a peaceful life, your why will keep you motivated on the days when self-discipline feels hard. It will remind you of the bigger picture and push you to keep going. And let's not forget that self-discipline is not a solitary journey. You don't have to do this alone. Surround yourself with people who support your goals and encourage your growth. Share your struggles and victories with them. Their encouragement will help you stay on track and remind you that you're not alone. Now, as we wrap up, I want you to take a moment to think about the life you want to create. What would it look like if you mastered self-discipline in every area of your life? How would you feel if you were in complete control of your actions and emotions? It's all possible, and it starts with the decision to commit to your own success. But before we end, there's one last thing I want to say. If you found this audiobook helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stoic Journey is here to help you on your path to mastering self-discipline, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. It only takes a second, and it helps us keep bringing you valuable content. So, don't forget to subscribe and share this journey with others. Let's grow together. Thank you for listening, and remember, the power to change your life is in your hands. You just need the discipline to take action and make it happen. So go ahead, take control, and become the master of your life.